And boom!
WandaVision, WandaVision.
WandaVision!
Oh my
Woo!
god. Look at her as the Scarlet Witch. I am dying.
Sheesh.
Se me dio, se me dio!
Sheesh.
Yes. Oh.
Sheesh.
Hmm.
Again, this I love this show. This was insane, and this was a great episode in my opinion. Wanda looks amazing. She looks like a beast in all the great aspects that you can imagine.
Yeah.
That chaos magic was there. The Scarlet Witch was there. We get to see the Sentinel, which is the White Vision, and we get to see how everything starts to shift and how everything is actually preparing itself for the Multiverse of Madness, or for Spider-Man 3, which is, I forgot the subtitle for it,
No Way Home.
No Way Home.
I need a movie.
No, yeah, no. No Way Home could definitely mean that he's jumping into the multiverse, the Spider Verse in this sense, and never coming back because of something that maybe Wanda does. We don't know.
We have to talk about it because I don't know if you read, but the ending that we got was very different, and this was due to COVID. And there were certain things that were going to happen in the ending.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, like you remember the bunny that I always say, like, oh, that's Mephisto.
Yeah.
The bunny was actually going to be Mephisto.
Oh my
So
god!
I nailed it. Yep, that's what I read.
Seriously?
That's what I read. Y shout out to Paola, to your sister, Lazy Pants. We were talking about this earlier, pero yeah. So in the ending that they were planning before COVID happened, the bunny was actually gonna end up being some form of Mephisto, and that was gonna be one of the big reveals for the season finale. There was more.
Everything is Mephisto. We were
Everything
saying
is
it.
I was saying the damn bunny, and I gotta tell you, because John
said
was
it to
like,
me.
I was like, where's the bunny? He's like, oh, it's just a bunny, whatever. And I'm like, that freaking
You
bunny is
said it to
freaking
me. Yeah,
Mephisto.
you did.
It's
You
freaking
did.
Mephisto.
Hey, maybe it becomes
How
another
dare
rat
they?
that helps Ant-Man come from the freaking time
Yeah, I have a feeling
thing.
that I have the feeling that we're gonna see that we're gonna see like this bunny come back again in maybe Doctor Strange or even Spider-Man 3. You never know, but. Apparently, there was also more work for, like, more scenes between Monica and Wanda, more stuff for Darcy that had to be cut off, and even Evan Peters as Quicksilver slash Ralph Boner, who we find out in this episode that he ended up being
Boner.
Agnes's husband.
Boner.
The Ralph that was mentioned, the Ralph that was mentioned throughout the season. Apart from that, the ending that we got, I feel satisfied with it because I think that even though the circumstances were not in the production's favor, they did the best that they could, and they focused on closing Wanda's story, or at least Wanda's story in WandaVision. This was the most Marvel episode that out of all of the 9 episodes that came out. I enjoyed the pace. I loved the whole Vision fighting with the White Vision, and then that whole scene where they were discussing that the theory with the boat, and they came to an accordance, and eventually Vision transfers all of his information to White Vision. So now, in some way,
I
shape, or
love it.
form, Vision is back for Wanda. She just doesn't know it yet.
Yes.
And I think, like I was saying, they focused on closing out Wanda and her time in WandaVision, and I think that says a lot about what Marvel is trying to do and how they're trying to protect the story. Because even though we might have gotten things that we wanted, like theories answered and possibly Mephisto at the end of the episode, it got to a point that Marvel knew that if it wasn't going to benefit Wanda's story, then it had to be taken out. And I can applaud them for that. I do have to say that things that kind of I think about but don't bother me as much. The whole Darcy thing that, we were talking about this in Cine PR with Mag and Angelo, that he mentioned that in a narrative sense, it didn't make sense for Darcy to be kind of thrown out in the season finale. I would say it was the same with Monica, because even though we discovered her powers, at the end she ended up not doing much. I think I would have loved to see a scene with her and Wanda teaming up together against Agatha.
Yeah, I think she was,
And that was gonna happen. And that was
being-
gonna happen.
I think she was, because of COVID, yes, and I think she was being prepared for the future. But also, like, was Darcy, and she was in the last episode. Like, she disappeared.
Yeah.
Like, she was for one moment.
She stopped Hayward.
She stopped Hayward, and she disappeared. It's like, what the heck? Now, the curiosity thing, and I think we also discussed it in Cine PR with the guys, is that what if Thor called her? What if she was picked up by Thor's the new Thor, which is in this case
Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman's Thor. It was weird. That was the one thing that actually pissed me off from the episode. It's like she was such a key importance in the freaking show for helping them get into the hex, get him out. She was the initial thought, the initial person to, bring all the clarity in this situation, and you're not giving her a spotlight at the end of the show. It's like, that is extremely weird. And I love the fact that Agatha's still alive. That Vision is still out there with all the essence of her, the one that was from her heart. It was heartbreaking the way she exited. And lastly, before we read the comments right now, that I'm about to jump into that, I loved the freaking last scene, after credit scene, which is the Spectrum Wanda, and then you got the Scarlet Witch reading the Book of the Damned, which is, I think, is the Book of the Damned. Yeah.
I think it's a Darkhold.
Darkhold.
Yes.
The Darkhold.
I'm happy that freaking finally, because we had heard so many times that this happens before Far From Home. They finally made a freaking connection with that mid-credit scene by showing Monica meeting the Skrull at the theater, and the Skrull telling her that Nick Fury, who's in space, wants to see her. And I was like, now it makes sense. Finally, they made the connection. And I think, in a way, it ties it up nicely to understand why Spider-Man 3 is coming out before the Multiverse of Madness.
The fact is that we might see Wanda be the anti-villain, or the villain straight up, from Marvel, the Multiverse of Madness. I mean, Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. Madness. Now,
Magnus.
Doctor Strange to the Multiverse of Madness. I got it.